as we explore the cult class.
Oh, that was short.
That was fast.
That was quick.
It was.
Hi.
No one's there. I'm going to play it, so we'll have a countdown. So hold on.
As we explore the cult classics Boondock Saints and the Nice Guys, unraveling their mysteries and dissecting their unique narratives. But wait, there's more. We're diving deep into the latest episode of True Detective, Season 4, Episode 4, for a riveting discussion that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Don't miss out on our cinematic journey. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. Make sure to stay connected with us on social media so you never miss any of the fantastic shows on the Wyrd Realities Network. Tune in live, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times a week, for captivating.
Tune in live.
Hello again.
I hate AI.
Yeah, tune in live.
Well, if you tell it what to say, it usually does good. But
Yeah.
I didn't catch that one.
Give it 100
Happy
years, they'll be ruling us.
Yeah, they will.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live.
We are live.
We're live.
We are live.
All right, we already got 5 folks in the house. So,
Yep. Doc just signed
hey
in.
Doc.
Early.
Good day. How are you?
G'day, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
Well, I am
Thanks for joining us.
super
Live.
excited. We're live, and I'm excited, and I can't wait to get into this. So, who's going to do me the honor of setting up
You
the
are.
Boondock Saints? No,
You are.
no.
Because you're the expert on this.
But I don't fly good giving these like you guys do. Y'all do all the deep dives. I have lots of trivia, but I'll do it. I'm not prepared though. I know Mr. Restucci's going to correct me. So,
Are you prepared, Rich? You want to do it?
I'm never prepared.
I wing it. Yeah, I wing it myself.
Well-
Mike is here. Hi, Mike. Craig is here.
Craig, Mike?
hey
Yeah,
guys,
I just sent those all over to you. You should have them by now.
See, I take all the nudes and post them on OnlyFans.
You know, Craig said he wouldn't give us up. But
Yeah.
I don't even know
There
what
you
y'all are
go.
talking about, but okay.
We
Craig
all sent-
comment.
He
about
didn't,
those-
because he didn't,
those
he
that
didn't
are
ask
first
you
with
for
the
news. He just asked the 3 of us. So
Well, taste is a thing. So.
not there's anything wrong with that.
Mm.
Not at
Anyway.
all.
Oh,
Yeah, those flashes outside all your windows last night, that wasn't lightning. You got
Hey,
Don't
Max.
interfere with my videotaping myself.
Max, Doc, Craig, Mike, Lewis.
People are tuning in going, what?
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting started. I'm diving in. So the
Okay.
Boondock Saints is, I think, a 98 or 99 vigilante action thriller. It was written and directed by a bartender who thought to himself, hey, I could write a better movie than what I'm seeing, and did. And the result was the Boondock Saints. This guy's name is Troy Duffy. Why you don't know his name is because apparently he had an ego the size of Texas and did not really have a successful film career. This movie stars William Dafoe, Sean Patrick Flannery, Norman Reedus, David De La Roca, and the one and only Sir Billy Connolly. And it follows the Irish fraternal twins, Connor and Murphy McManus, that are played by Flannery and Reedus. And it follows them as they become vigilantes after killing members of the Russian mafia with a toilet. It is a one. I just love this film, so there's not much I can say. If you haven't seen it, you've got to. I will not ever ruin this for you. And then once you see it, we're going to talk. And I think that my favorite cuss word is said 243 times, Craig Boland. So take that.
They said heck 243 times? Huh. Darn it.
Y'all can probably
Don't
count
go
on one hand how many times I've said heck, but
So
But
did you
yeah.
actually look that up, or did you actually count them through? in the
no, I found it that it was said that many times. But I love this movie
First chapter of one
I
of my
love
books.
this movie from the first duck ass to the second. So Scott's going, I don't get you. Scott, do you not know what I'm talking about?
No, I am. I'm sorry. I've got 40 things going up here at once. I'm trying to put 39 of them into hold.
That's what she said.
Oh, there it is.
So this is not my first rodeo with this movie. I've seen it. It was introduced to me probably in 2002 by some nerdy friends of mine, and they it's just the best movie. And I have seen it so many times that watching it the other night, I was like, I knew what was about to come next. The lines. I mean, I know the lines that well in it, and
You're
it
one of
is.
those.
No, I'm not, and I'm not. It's just I
I
love
am.
You're watching the movie and your buddy's like,
Bro, what are you doing with your hand right there?
"Go watch the movie."
What's going on?
He didn't say what.
Oh no,
movie
I'm
he was
not. I'm not
watching.
Lauren Boebert. I'm eating popcorn. I guess I figured you.
Oh, hey, Linda.
Hi, Lando.
Miles,
Hi, Alan.
Hey, Landa.
But I'm glad
Yeah,
she
Alan.
found us. She said she had a hard time finding us, but she did. So yay.
Well, the NSA
I
is
hope
trying to
Tina's not
keep us
lost.
preoccupied.
Just in case y'all ever need to know, we are live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So we were a little bit late tonight, I think. Well, no, we're on it.
5 seconds.
But regardless, back to Boondock Saints. So, how many times have you seen it?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm looking at you,
I've seen
Alan.
it
Twice.
several times.
Twice. I've seen
Rich?
it twice.
More than 5.
And Scott, it was Scott's first time. We found
First
it
time,
Virgin.
I've never seen it. It's been on my watch list. And it was like, okay, this gives me a chance to see it. And I'm kicking myself for not watching it earlier.
Dude, you're from Boston. How could you not see the Boondock Saints? Huh?
I know. I loved it. I love the idea of these two Irish roughnecks just starting to take a vendetta on all the assholes in the neighborhood. Going up against the Russian guys. It was great. Bill Connolly was just phenomenal in it. And the one thing that really impressed me, the Boston accents were good.
Yeah, they weren't bad.
Well, so I'm going to give y'all a little bit of trivia on this because that's who I am in this gang. So, Billy Connolly was so excited to make this movie because it took him out of the typecast he had been in for so long, and he got to play this big bad dude strapped with guns and getting to shoot things up.
Yeah.
He had such a big
The what?
grin on his face that the director put the cigar in his mouth because he couldn't stop Connolly from grinning. He was like a little kid. He was having such a great time.
Now,
So,
now Connolly, right? He's a stand-up comedian, right? And
yes.
Yeah.
he was on that sitcom for a long time, or a little while, where he's a teacher or something, right?
I don't know.
It was back in the early '90s, or somebody out there must know.
I
not
don't
sure.
remember that. I did remember he did the movie about, I think it was Queen Victoria, and he was her like horseman. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Wasn't he Fido? Wasn't Billy Connolly?
Yes, he was in Fido.
Yeah.
I believe he was in Fido.
Yeah, that's
Craig
not an
suggests
outlaw, badass criminal vigilante
No.
movie, guy.
no,
No, it's a zombie movie. But
So, all right. I was saying before we got on air that the original, the director wanted 2 people for the roles of the brothers. He wanted Stephen Dorff and Mark Wahlberg. Those are his original choices.
I could see Stephen Dorff in Sean Patrick Flannery's role. I could see that.
Well, just so you know,
And then
Dorff went.
Mark's got the accent though.
He does, and he's a Boston kid, but he chose to make Boogie Nights with his Dirk Diggler moves, and Dorff went on to make Blade, so that was around that time period. In addition, he wanted for the Paul Smecker character played by the one and only Willem Dafoe, who is phenomenal. If you're not a fan of Dafoe, watch this movie; it'll change your mind. I promise.
and if you've never seen him in a dress, watch this movie.
I was telling my friend I watched this
myself.
movie with that William Dafoe looks like a 40-year-old Reese Witherspoon in drag. So keep
No.
that in mind when you watch it. But so the Paul Smecker character went through like the director talked with. The first choice, I believe, was I'm trying to remember the way that it went, and
Yes,
I
he is,
can't
Max. He's a national treasure.
remember the the line as it went. But the second person that he went to talk with was Patrick Swayze. The studio wanted Sylvester
Mhm.
Stallone. He also the director also talked to Kevin Spacey, and Kenneth Branagh was his first choice. And it rolled down the line until William Dafoe got it. And at the time this movie was being made, it was he was being considered the next Quentin Tarantino. And they had this huge deal. I mean, like the film got a budget with Miramax. It was Harvey Weinstein who had signed this kid. Um, he not only gave him the contract, and they did a big write up about him. It was really famous, and they just thought it was going to knock it out of the park. That Weinstein bought the bar that the kid worked in. They went in partners on ownership for it, and then as the filming got started, the kid's ego got so big that he was so hard to work with that Miramax pulled out. And they were scratching and clawing trying to get this film made. The budget went from the $15 million that Miramax had offered to I think they took it to Cannes, and at Cannes I think it's a Canadian film company had stepped up and gave them $5 million to film it.
It was partially filmed in Toronto, so that makes sense.
Yes. It was a lot of it was filmed in Toronto, surprisingly. But you couldn't tell. I mean, they did not film a lot in Boston. They just didn't have the film budget for it. Anyway, so I just can't imagine Sylvester Stallone as Paul Snicker. I just can't do it. I just don't.
No one could do that.
You can't see him saying that role, saying that line.
Max said he could see Branagh, and I could, though the British accent would throw me. I do think Kevin Spacey might have been able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think he would have done
He
it.
might have been able.
It would not have been the same.
No,
Exactly. Defoe
nobody did
was
it like
just.
Defoe did.
It would have been a very different movie.
Oh, he was so good in that. He was just so narcissistic, so pompous, and the way he just talked down to all those cops.
Oh, that one about get the donut. I want to have me a bagel. I want I want some cream cheese with my bagel. I love it. I love this movie. I love Defoe, and watching him is, honest to God, like watching poetry in motion in this film.
Yeah.
It's just great. I'm curious what you all think about it, because I mean, like I said, obviously this was my pick. I couldn't believe we hadn't reviewed this movie yet, and I got no words other than I know that it gets a lot of hate, but it really is a good movie.
What does it get hate for?
It gets a lot of hate.
So it came out, or actually they started testing or doing the initial phases right after the Columbine murders. So that was a big deal. So when they released it, it only released in 5 theaters across the country, and it on a budget of $6 million, it made $30,000. So it was a huge box office failure.
Yeah.
Then it went to video. People started talking about it word to mouth, and it made $50 million on video. So it's actually a gigantic film. Just
it's very big overseas.
Yeah, it did pretty well overseas. Yeah. So it was a huge flop that turned into a cult classic, and it just kind of exploded. I mean, $30,000 opening in 5 theaters across the country—that's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
But they did that specifically because they thought that at the time there'd be copycat murders because of this film, because of the nature of the film and what had just happened in Columbine. So it was a sad state of affairs all around.
Yeah, this was so good. These were 2 guys taking out the bad guys. They were cleaning out the neighborhood. I mean, this was a comical version of Death Wish.
Well, one of the interviews that I've seen, Sean Patrick Flannery, they were talking about how Norman couldn't remember all of the languages they're supposed to know as the brothers in the film,
Oh yeah.
and that he has actually called Sean Patrick Flannery up in the middle of the night asking, and I quote, "How do you ask a woman to take her panties off in German?" So they really are, and this is what the point of that statement is, they're really like brothers. And on the film, it really does show that they have that kind of rambunctious repertoire that brothers have.
Mm.
You know, they're fraternal twins, but I think Flannery plays like the one that's probably like 2 minutes older than the other. And they have that protectiveness, and they have that devil may care kind of, I'm gonna give you a wedgie kind of camaraderie ship. And I think it really shows. And we could take this apart, you know, just scene by scene, but starting off with the meat scene in the butcher shop when they're cutting meat, you know, and it's just hilarious. I don't know if I can, if I'm going to say
Did you
something
pick?
wrong with that.
See, I actually picked the meat scene to go with. Anyway,
We'll go with the
this,
meat scene.
was this before Reedus's accident? Forgot if this was or not before his motorcycle wreck.
I don't know. I don't know when he had
Because
his
it
from '99.
yeah, was this before Blade? Was this before
Yes.
the Blade movie he was in?
Yes.
Blade 2, yeah.
So when he got in the wreck, there's a marked change in his looks, and I can't remember.
Well,
if
he's
this
just a
was
baby
before
in
or
this
after the
too.
accident.
But
Yeah.
no, this movie, keep in mind, Stephen Dorff was considered for the role that he played, and Stephen Dorff was in the first Blade. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You know, Stephen Dorff's like he could be in a lot of stuff. He's a B movie Ethan Hawke or something like that. You know what I mean? He's not great, but he's okay. You know,
I've always liked him and
Reedus
preferred him to Ethan Hawke.
and Sean Patrick Flannery, man, he's straight to B movies. You know, he played young Indiana Jones, right? That was his big thing back in the day in the TV series.
He
Yeah, I
was in
believe
the Mist
in
of
the TV.
Avalon too, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I think
But
he
he
either
kinda-
played.
Never saw either of those.
I think he played King Arthur in the Mist of Avalon.
Uh,
I could be very wrong though, but he's been in one of those movies because I can see him very clearly.
Yeah, he kind of floated into B movies, you know, just straight to B movies. And Reedus is Reedus. You know, he's got a charmed career.
Yeah.
You know.
He was married or had a baby with Linda Evangelista.
Really?
No idea who that is.
She was a supermodel from the 90s that's like drop dead gorgeous.
Linda Evangelista.
Yep.
And then Defoe, you know, Defoe from that, he's just been, his career just is all over the place.
Oh yeah.
You know, you could catch him in some crappy B movie or some great, you know, John Wick. And he's still good in all of them.
Well, he's like Michael Caine. Michael Caine used to do those great movies, and then he'd do like, you know, he was just paying rent with the next three. So.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that Defoe is like that. I mean, I don't think that he makes films just to pay the rent. I think that
I think he does it because he likes to act.
Yeah. I saw him give an interview where he was talking about doing, I think is it the Life Aquatic?
Oh yeah, Steven Susu.
Yeah,
Is that the one with Bill Murray?
Yeah. He was talking about he made that movie because he had met the director and they just really hit it off and really liked each other. And the guy was saying to him, "Yeah, man, I've got to go make this film, but you know, let's hook up and you know maybe we can make a movie in a couple of years or something." And then like 3 months later, he got a call from him because the person had dropped out to make another film, and so he got that part. And you know, I think he likes to act. I think he, you know, he had gone on to say that he never thought he was going to be an actor all his life, that it was just something he was doing for a little while, but then he realized one day, hey, I've been doing this all my life. But
he's good at it.
Yeah, well, I think he likes to really explore, and that's one of the things he was talking about, making that what is the vampire movie that he made?
Oh,
Dafoe?
the one about
Nosfer-
the making of Nosferatu, right?
It's not Interview with a Vampire, but that's
no.
what I'm wanting to call it.
It's the one where he turns out to be a real vampire, and they're making this movie, right?
Yeah, and
Oh yes. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Where he was a real vampire, but they cast him as Nosferatu.
The Shadow of a Vampire, or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's another one we need to review because he's just so off the chain in it.
Well,
But,
I guess they made
movies.
I hear.
Well, I guess he made some movie where he was naked a lot in it, and they had to make a fake penis or something because his was oddly distracting.
Well,
I read that in some.
Well, I know he's married to an Italian woman.
Good way or the bad way?
Good way.
Well,
Good way. The way the guy wrote it. So.
Well, his wife is Italian. He speaks fluent Italian. I saw him on like one of those, on YouTube where they'll like Google William Dafoe and they'll have to pull off the thing to see what the most searched things are for their name. And he was oddly delightful. I mean, he just seemed like a really fun, kind of corny person. Not like you would think strange. But I saw him in that movie where he is hunting the last Tasmanian tiger. And I mean, he's just good in everything. I mean, he really is.
He plays a great psycho.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
we got to move. We got Live and Die in L.A. coming up soon with him in it.
Well, we're also about to do Platoon. So that we'll have 3 movies of him this month.
Yeah.
It's Dafoe. Yes.
Yeah. Anything.
Friend or Dafoe. Bam. This is a good movie.
Right.
It's a fun movie.
All right. Well, so I'm going to stop talking and y'all tell me what you thought about it.
I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of did. I mean, this is top 50 for me. I absolutely love this movie. Even if I wasn't from Boston, I'd still love this movie. It's really well acted. It's incredibly comedic. I mean, the scene where he gets cuffed to the toilet and then the way he uses the toilet as a weapon was, was just phenomenal. It was really well done. And the comedy they use and the fact that they're just so nonchalant about murdering everyone. It was really good, and it was their first time. They fell out of the ceiling and they're spinning around shooting people with suppressors, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's our first time going on a murder spree, and we're gonna kill all these Russian bad guys. And I thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
Acting was good. The direction was excellent. Willem Dafoe totally stole the show. He absolutely stole it. He plays a Fed. He was a gay Fed, right? A Fed who is trying to, figure out who's doing all these murders. He does figure out, he's like, all right, I'll join him. That type of thing. It was pretty cool. Scott?
It was a perfect. I'm sorry. Did you say Alan?
No, I said Scott.
Oh, it was just one of those movies where everything. No, Smokey's outside. My sister's dog and Fred's going nuts. It was one of those movies that everything came together perfectly. The plot, the actors, Bill Connolly. I love the scene where William Dafoe, who's been right so many times, talks about 6 guys with guns trying to gun them down. But what you're seeing is Bill Connolly with 6 guns trying to gun them down.
Well, that's what the idiot says. He said, what if it was one guy with 6 guns?
Yeah.
A huge guy.
Yeah. It was great. I loved it. I wished I'd seen it sooner, and this will be one of those movies I'll definitely be watching more of.
Well, what I really want to know is what scene's your favorite?
The
scene Rich mentioned. Yeah. I think the scene Rich mentioned. Yeah, I thought that was probably one of my favorites.
The toilet dropping scene?
Yeah.
So,
when he's describing it, and that cop is talking about the huge guy, and this was obviously a huge guy. This is funny. But the bar scene's great at the beginning when the Russians come in. I mean, my misspent youth might have seen a similar kind of St. Patty's revelry happen before. But it just seemed real. It just seemed like, like when they're having a good time, not when they're setting the man on fire. But it's just great.
Yeah.
I
And
like what Mike said. The biggest evil is a good man's indifference.
yes,
Yeah.
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 the funny guy telling the joke.
telling
The
the joke.
Russian, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good, Max.
I like the white art line. I mean, it's got a lot of good lines in it. As you can tell, I am a symbology expert. Scott did not remember what I was referring to, but if you've seen this movie enough times, you'll know. So
Don't watch part 2.
no, it'll break your
there's
heart.
a part 3 in the works, or there was. I don't know if it still is, but
Let's
that
beat
was,
the horse to death.
That was the thing. Billy
Well, they may
Connolly,
be able to save it.
Flannery, they're all going to be in it, and there was going to be a cameo by one. Oh,
Well, if they can save it, you know what I mean?
yeah.
That'd be good.
I'd like for him to save it. And I
Yeah.
think the reason that part 2 was such a flop, wasn't it? Like all tied up into litigation for a while.
Yeah, that there's a real good. I don't know if you watched it. I can't remember the name of it. Documentary on Troy Duffy, just how he imploded, and it's tells you everything that went on, and what a stupid idiot, someone that had a great movie and then rolled at their fingertips and they just let their ego destroy it all. But I forgot the name of it, but it's about the making of Boondock Saints Part 2, Troy Duffy's ego, all that stuff. It's really interesting. I think it was with the DVD. I think I watched it on DVD, and it had a DVD extra. That documentary on it. I think. Can't remember. It's been a while, but it's worth watching. Look out for it. If you're a fan of this movie, look for that documentary on Troy
And if
Duffy.
you haven't seen this movie, you need to watch this movie. I'm recommending it highly.
That's a moral imperative. This is a must see.
This is a 5-star movie for me.
Exactly. 5-star.
5-star.
Wow.
5-star here.
I'm going to give it 5 as well. That's 2 weeks in a row with a 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm interested to know what the Peanut Gallery thinks.
What did you guys think? Hey, they all love it. We all know they all love it.
Yeah. That's cool. Mike Lewis just got Dan Brown's autograph.
Dan Brown, the author, Dan Brown?
Yes. I haven't read any of those, but I've seen the movies. The movies are interesting.
The Da Vinci Code was a good book. My first wife bought it for me, and she got so upset because I read a lot about masonry and that. And of course, if I'm reading masonry, I'm reading the conspiracy theories. And I figured out what the end of the book was going to be like, around chapter 10.
That's why you're a writer, sir.
Max gave it a 5. Craig gave it a 4.7. Londa loved it.
Where's our asshole?
Nice.
I think he just got home.
Well, I'm curious what he thought.
He'll join in.
Well,
And no one has mentioned the cat scene out of the 3 of y'all. So
That was the only
somebody in
scene
the Peanut Gallery did.
Yeah, and I didn't like that. I know they had to do that, but
it was definitely not expected.
no.
That and the bartender with Tourette's. Those were two of the very interesting details in that movie.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of both.
Sure, Lando, I'll do that for him. Poor guy, he'll want to
dog cats.
He'll want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Within the first couple minutes.
I
gotta watch what I say on this.
I dated a blind
There's certain
girl
words you
in
can't
college, and we went to see Aliens. And I said I would describe the movie to her. That was the worst thing, trying to describe all those action scenes, trying to describe this one got killed, an alien killed this one. They just killed a bunch of aliens. It was insane.
Not bad.
And
I don't know. How
don't describe a porno movie out. Don't want to hit it.
Well, so we gave this one
I've got
a 5.
questions, but I'm going to abstain from asking them. So, who wants to take the nice guys?
Not it.
Not it. It's all you, Scott.
Oh, come on. I'm not ready for that.
Gotta be faster than that, buddy.
Oh, come on. I just saw it the other night. Now I forgot some of it.
Who
You
recommended it?
started.
Alan?
Alan recommended it. I didn't.
Oh, that's true.
It'll be brief because I didn't watch it again this week. It's been a
Oh.
while since I watched it, but
I'll help
It's
you fill
fall-
in the blanks.
okay. Ryan Gosling plays a down and out detective, and he's looking for this lady's. It's her granddaughter,
Her niece.
and she's missing.
Amelia.
Huh?
Her
Is
niece.
it her granddaughter?
Yeah.
Her niece, and she's in the porn industry. He's looking for her, and he crossed paths with Russell Crowe, who is what's he, kind of like a fixer type of guy or something,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
it's like a fixer. This takes place in the late 70s, folks. And it's really, really cool that it does, because the sets are nice, and the way things are handled are just so great. And the music. So they cross paths looking for this girl, and they end up joining up, and they don't get along. And Ryan Gosling is a single dad, and the daughter almost steals the show on a lot of it. And he's not a very good single dad.
He's an
But he's
alcoholic.
he's just a screw up, and it's like you really don't see Ryan Gosling in this kind of role, And Russell Crowe is Russell Crowe, he's kind of a badass, and this whole thing rolls into a conspiracy with the auto industry. And this is written by Shane Black. Awesome. Shane Black can do no wrong in my book writing. I'd love to write books like he writes movies. And there's a lot of humor in it, a lot of 70s nostalgia. Craig, a lot of nudity for you there. It's just a good, fun movie. There's a lot of witty retorts in it. There's one scene where Russell Crowe beats the heck out of Ryan Gosling at the beginning, and it's hilarious because Ryan Gosling just screaming like a little. Anyway, I love this movie. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of big name actors in it, but Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, they've got a great chemistry, and I wish they'd make a number 2 in this one. But,
They definitely
let's hear from y'all.
They definitely do well playing off of each other.
Yeah.
I think this is Gosling's best role. I think
I
he
thought so too.
really nailed it. I think he was a super tough sissy, if that makes any sense. He just wasn't a tough guy, but he did things that tough guys do.
Yeah.
And he was also a coward, let's run away from danger, that type of thing. Russell Crowe crushed it. He tells this story about Richard Nixon helping some guy on the side of the road that had crashed, and he's pinned. And Nixon tells the guy, "You're going to be fine," and then the guy dies.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Ryan Gosling falls out of a huge building and lands in a pool, and he turns around and he sees Richard Nixon swimming. He's like, that was my favorite scene in that movie. It was just completely stupid, and I loved every second of it. The one-liners from Gosling in this film are great. Crowe's got a couple of good ones too, but Crowe was supposed to be the brooding tough guy character, and Gosling was kind of the weaker I love my kid character.
Yeah.
And the little girl, I don't know who that was, what her name was, but she was great. She brought a lot of comedy to it too. And I highly recommend this movie. I think this is a great film.
It's a great buddy flick.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And you're right. Both Alan and Hadley, you guys said there should be a second one. I agree. I think it would have been easy to do. I don't know about now, but back in the day, it would have been super easy to make a second one.
I don't know if Gosling can make a comeback after Barbie.
Yeah.
Right?
Wasn't he put up for an Academy for Barbie?
I don't want to talk about that, Scott. I'm pretending like 2023 movies didn't happen. He played this role so well that again it's like Max said, he didn't really like him until he saw this movie. He didn't think he was a good actor.
Yeah.
I knew he was a good actor. I'd seen what was that cry movie that he did? Gosh, Nicholas Sparks movie, I think.
I don't know.
Oh, about the
Oh, the
Alzheimer's.
Notebook.
Yeah, I
The
saw
Notebook.
that. So I knew he could act. But I just thought he was like a pretty boy. I didn't think that he had any humor in the fact that he could play a role like this that is almost despicable in the way he's raising his child. And I mean, but
Yeah.
there's redeemable, you know, you you don't hate him, but there are times when you're like, where's her dad? Why is he,
Well, she's at that party.
Yeah.
I
At the
know.
party scene.
I was very uncomfortable to saw that. I was like, where is her dad? Who's watching this child? And Russell Crowe is like the one who's looking out for her.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like what made this movie work for me is he's like this meaty meathead kind of a dude. And he's got a soft touch for the little kid. And he is looking out for her. And that was the kind of like the way you set up his character. Again, you have a meaty bruiser of a just a tough guy. You know, he's paid to get people to leave people alone. But the first role that you see that he takes is you know, making sure that this guy doesn't, it's an older man with a teenage girl, and he goes and, you know, basically breaks his arm and tells him leave her alone. The one of the parents had hired him, and you just, that's the kind of guy he is. But he has this moral or ethics that are unquestionable. And so he's kind of like this knight in very rusty armor, and he wants to be a detective, and so he really admires what he perceives Gosling to be doing. And Gosling is just a total duck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
he's lazy. Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all, and I'm sure y'all did, y'all are such savvy movie watchers, but you know, when he's talking to Russell Crowe, he's like, well, you don't do that, and you don't do that. And he's like throwing all these ethics at him. But then when the Kim Basinger character is paying him, he's like, well, we'll go back in 2 days and we'll milk her for some more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, he's definitely monetary driven.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was this was kind of a sleeper hit for me. I hadn't heard of it, and I just like kind of caught it on one night, and I was like, why haven't I heard of this? This is really good. But it has I mean, just the clothes and the rumpled way that Russell Crowe looks, you know, is just great. So this was a great movie, and it was good pairing too. They're different enough that you could really get into it.
Well, like you're saying, Hadley, like Russell Crowe, his character, like he's got that scene at the beginning with the daughter where she's over by where their house burned down at, you know, and he's talking to her, and it's not, you know, he's kind of gruff and everything, and you know, she's kind of talking to him about, you know, mom dying and all that, and he's offering, you know, the yoo-hoo and all that stuff, and that was great. You know, underneath that, you know, guy that just beat her dad up is, you know, knight and rumpled, you know, leather 70s chic, you know.
Craig Boland's asking if Crow was fat in this one. He was not fat. He was chunky.
He's big.
He has a dad bod in this one, Craig. Dad bod.
I have a dad.
I love Russell Crowe, and I love him in all of his many shapes in movies, and I don't think we see enough of him.
No, we don't.
He's got a movie called Poker Face on Hulu. You should watch it. It's really good.
Russell Crowe has a movie called Poker Face?
Yeah, it's called Poker Face.
I haven't heard about it.
If I had Hulu, I'd like to watch it, but I don't. I'll have to wait. But he's very underrated. I heard they're doing it's a Gladiator. They're going to do a Gladiator 2.
Yeah, there's going to be a second one
without him.
Well, didn't he die in the first one?
Actually,
it's without him.
He's in it. I heard that he's in it.
Really?
Yeah. I'm confused
Is he a
as to how
ghost?
that can be. I don't know. I don't know if it's a prequel. I don't know if it's if it comes out, if later on,
It's gonna
he's a ghost.
it's gonna be hard to do a prequel.
Yeah,
So
he's
many
much
years.
older. Yeah, he's 20
Gladiator
years old.
is one of my favorite. It has probably my favorite war scene in a movie is when Maximus is in Germany or Germania. But I love that scene. I love that scene when they're fighting.
Yeah, that's a good scene. That's really good. That's what's his face, right? Guy that did Alien, right?
Ridley Scott.
Huh?
Was it Ridley Scott?
Ridley Scott's doing the second
Yeah,
one.
Ridley Scott. Yeah.
Who did it the first one?
I don't know. Was it Ridley Scott?
No, he did the first Gladiator,
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Well,
and I think
it
he's
was
doing the second
phenomenal.
one.
I mean that's a great film.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I'm looking at it right now, and I am not seeing Russell Crowe as listed as a cast member. I had heard he was in it.
Didn't think he was going to be in it. I thought they got some new guy, and
Paul.
I mean, he might be in it in like another role. You know,
Like
he's
Obi-Wan.
not playing himself. He's like playing an emperor or something.
he'll be a Jedi ghost.
Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, Connie Nelson. Yeah, there's some names in here.
Denzel Washington. That's an actor that I love that we really have only done like one movie of his, right?
Yeah, Denzel's good stuff.
Yeah.
We've only done
Denzel's
Fallen.
great. That's an excellent movie.
Well, this
gotta
was
have
a
a
great
Denzel
one.
movie.
I'm highly recommending it to anyone who hasn't seen it.
The Fun Guys.
Nice guys.
Nice guys. I love the movie. It was like it had such a 70s feel to it. It reminded me of those good old days. And like at first I was like, how the hell is he taking this girl with him on these, on these cases? But then it's like 1977. Nobody cared back then. And it was a good buddy movie, but it was a three-way buddy movie because she was so good. She was the conscience of the two of them. And it was funny. And I love the whole concept that the porno movie, the plot gave away the conspiracy of the auto industry.
Yeah.
Because like whoever watches the plot of a porno movie, from what I hear, not that I know, I enjoyed it. It was a fun watch. I'm glad I watched it, and I'll probably watch it again.
I like that part where they're looking for him, and that kid comes up, and they're looking for that guy that filmed the movie. That kid comes up on the bike.
$20.
Yeah.
Choice words. Hey.
Well, and there were some things about this movie that it was very uncomfortable. I was surprised they used it, but it worked. And I think that it worked because you're like, I can't believe this was really what was happening back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like no one seemed to think that it was odd that a 12-year-old was at a party for an industry like that.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little weird.
Shane Black is written by Shane Black. It's like you guys and John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Well, I love Shane Black, man. Shane Black
Can't go wrong almost.
Yeah. All right, so y'all got time to talk about, or we're gonna rate it. So, what does everybody give it?
Yeah.
I'll give this one a 4.5. I really enjoyed this. This is another one I've seen several times.
Yeah, I agree. 4.5. It was really good, really fun, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, I'll give it 4.5. Definitely.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I enjoyed it, but there were parts of it that made me uncomfortable. And I kind of fizzled out and I didn't watch the end, so that's not a good sign.
You didn't watch the end?
I meant to, but I apparently fell asleep.
Well, they all die at the end.
Yeah. There was the scene with the bus and the hand grenade at the end when they all got blown up. And
Kind of like Hobo with a shotgun.
there was a whole like psychedelic thing because it was the 70s. So
I really don't know, so
I
y'all
don't-
don't
I don't know why the little girl jumped on the hand grenade.
just
Maybe
don't.
because Ryan
it
Gosling
didn't
ran
work,
off.
though, 'cause they still all died.
I know, Doc. It's late here when I'm watching TV.
I'm sorry. My mind's going places that I cannot go to right now.
Mike
Oh.
Lewis is telling us to check out a cop action film starring Will Ferrell, Dwayne Johnson, Michael Keaton, Samuel L. Jackson, Eva Menendez, and many others.
The other
I
That's a good
don't
one.
like Will Ferrell.
This one's good. It's the
Yeah,
other
it's not
guys, and it's fun.
I think Marky Mark's
Michael
in it.
Keaton steals
Yeah,
the
he is.
show.
I don't like Will Ferrell as a human being. I think he's a jerk. But some of his movies are funny. Talladega Night was hilarious.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's funny. It makes so much fun of rednecks, lovingly. And I also love the movie he did with I can't think of the guy with the curly hair who's in all the movies with him, Step Brothers.
Step
Yeah.
Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy was
Well,
in Boogie Nights too.
Yep, it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus, what's his
He,
name?
Will Ferrell, what he thinks is funny, just kind of, it's funny up to a point, then he pushes it over, and you're like,
Yeah, he's too over the top for me. It's just not my humor. Old School did make me laugh though. I see Max has mentioned that.
John C. Ryan.
I'm not narcoleptic.
That's
I'm
it.
just old and
Thank
I
you.
work a lot of hours. So,
John C. Riley.
but yeah, again, that's just not my thing. But, yeah.
Oh,
Well, let's move on then to your thing. Something that is your thing.
yeah, we can do your
True
thing.
Detective, the latest episode, and I'm having a blank. This one wasn't as like shocking as the others. It started off, with them reviewing I guess with the ice cave phone scene. Is that what you would call it?
Sure.
And it was kind of a sad episode.
Yes, agreed.
Oh yeah.
It ended sad.
Yeah, it did. It ended. I mean, it was just kind of sad. So this one, I'm still excited to see where this is going, and it's still really, really, really great. But this one just wasn't full of all of the stuff like the others. It was like Christmas, and it had that whole kind of longing and lonesomeness associated. I think it kind of had overtones over the whole episode.
It did, and the girl, Jodie Foster's, I guess, adopted daughter, she's just a little shit. I mean, I understand why she's doing this stuff, but she just does it so dumb. She's trying to protest. She's an Inuit, and she's trying to protest these mines that are doing terrible things to the environment, and she just does it terribly. She keeps getting caught, and Jodie Foster is the lead cop, so it's a tough dynamic, and the kid's just a turd. So it's tough.
Yeah.
Not that Jodie Foster's a shining beacon of paragon of niceness. She's kind of a jerk too, but the dynamic is tough, and there's something that happens in this episode that's, like Hadley said, it's very, very sad. But the thing is, you can see it coming 100 miles away. You could see it, 3-4 episodes ago, so it's not shocking. It just happens in this episode. I don't know that they needed to do it, but I also don't know where it's going to lead. So it was.
Yeah.
And I'm going to disagree with Doc. She's saying that she agrees with y'all that none of the characters are likable, but I like the Jodie Foster character. I don't think she's a good person, but she's so flawed in her despair and heartbreak. I mean, she lost her husband, she lost her child in the same wreck. She's I'm going to say stuck raising a child that's not hers, that doesn't want to bond with her. I mean, they're just not bonding.
But let me stop you there a minute, Hadley. Doctor Who tells her that she wasn't that good of a person before that. Because I was thinking the same thing you were. I was thinking, because of this tragedy that happened to her, she changed, right? But then Doctor Who said, she was a shit before, but she just got worse after it happened.
Well, I
So,
think, Alan, I think what he was saying is that she's very direct, and she didn't care whose feelings she hurt, which I know a lot of people like that. I mean, I grew up, my mother was like that, so that might be why I kind of have sympathy for her.
It goes a little deeper than that because she's sleeping with pretty much everybody's husband.
Yeah.
So that's goes a little bit above and beyond, the misunderstood heroine.
Well, in her defense, how many people are there in Enos, Alaska?
I mean,
the pickings might kind of be slim.
I understand they're trying to bring about the feel that this is a crappy little town in a crappy environment where your life is crappy. They tried to do the same thing with 30 Days of Night, and I think they really succeeded. But no, I agree with Doc. I'm finding it very hard to make it through this series because I don't like any of the characters. And the one character I did like, which was her deputy, I've grown to dislike him in the last episode. It's just when they're on, I don't want to pay any attention to them. I don't care what happens to them. I'm waiting for them to get back to a scene with whatever the mystery is that's going on. The acting is great, but just the characters themselves, it's like.
Well, I think Landa hit it. She just said that she didn't need to like the character. She finds her very real. And I think that's it. She's very real. I mean,
yeah.
I know people like this. People like this.
Yeah.
She's incredibly flawed. And
yes.
That's what gives the real.
That's what gives it a real. But all of the characters, everyone in that town, I don't like any of the characters in this series.
Well, but it's good to see Jodie Foster back on the screen.
It is.
Because you like her acting in this.
Yeah.
You really do. But you don't like her character. Or at least
just take her socks off during the sex scenes.
Tina's like, we're watching. She's like, she's been wearing that uniform for how many hours?
Yeah.
So my favorite
Doctor Who was horny,
is the guy that Navarro is sleeping with. I really like him.
Yeah.
Yes, or whatever.
One of the best scenes is she just gets the shit beat out of her by these three jackasses, and it was basically her fault.
Yeah.
And she goes in, she's all busted up, and she's got a dislocated thumb or a wrist or something like that. And he's like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And they start talking. And then she goes into a little spiel, and he gets down on one knee like he's gonna propose, and she's like, "No, I don't want it." He goes, and he snaps her wrist.
Oh yeah, that was great.
He can put it back. He can relocate.
That scene got me.
It was just hilarious the way he did it. It was really smooth.
Me too, Alan. I was sitting there going, "Oh no, this is not the right time for this. Nobody is bad timing."
Yeah,
but
I thought that's so corny, but
he's gonna. Y'all know he's gonna end up being dead or something.
Yeah,
because we like him too much. But
well, I thought Pryor was going to end up dead on this episode. Being Christmas Eve, and he's out there with Navarro in the Nomad track, and I thought for sure he was going to die. Because that's how True Detective goes, man. The innocence dies. The bad people might get their comeuppance, but there's always the darkness. It's never like, the Rookie where, hey, we got the good guy, we got the bad guy. Our day goes on great. It's we got the bad guy and nothing's ever going to be good again. It's like that, which is enthralling. I love watching True Detective series. It's like a roller coaster because there's some good seasons and some bad seasons, but there's always some good acting in them, and good gunfights. This one hasn't had one yet.
Well, it's got the orange though. I've been all about that orange.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, it's whenever the mother is trying to communicate with them, the orange appears.
I guess so.
Well, it was just Navarro at first, but then it was her sister too.
Some symbolism.
So I don't know what the symbolism is. And the big old polar bear, which is my favorite part of the whole thing, I want to know what he means. I know it's tied into her son, but I don't know what. Um, so there's a lot. I mean, like I wonder what they saw when they went to that murder suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, I got questions. I want to know.
Well, it's weird because usually True Detective is straight up crime. I mean, the first season had supernatural elements in it. The others did not. So this one is just really going out there. If it is supernatural, you know what I mean? It's just different than the others. It's even more different. It's even different than the first season
Well, I'm gonna
because
go
it did have a
and,
lot of
and
supernatural.
I'm gonna go and say I truly believe it's gonna have something to do with infrasound, especially with the way this one ended, with the blood coming out of her ear after she was listening to that radio. There's something with sound.
Thumbs up.
I was,
The
yeah,
significance of the orange is it's an homage
yeah.
to Godfather. Because every time there was an orange in the Godfather, it was foreshadowing death. And I just looked this up. I didn't come up with that in
Oh,
my
wow.
head. I looked
Well,
up
you could have just played that off and we would have believed it.
You should have, Rich.
I can be honest, but yeah, I thought that
There
was
you go.
kind of weird because I don't remember the oranges in the Godfather.
I kind of remember like he was eating an orange with the cat and all in the. Am I totally misremembering that?
I don't know.
It was like
No,
in an
I
olive
remember
garden.
the scene where he was using the orange like his bangs and he was scaring his grandchild and just keeled over.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. This one is
I don't
odd.
get
Doc's
the
doing some
orange.
good stuff out there, but
I
it's
don't remember
odd.
any oranges in The Godfather other than that. Now, I wouldn't want to be around somebody who had cannoli in the back of the car.
Oh, Max, Jodie Foster. I don't think she's McConaughey's mom. I don't think there's.
No,
I don't think there's anything. I don't know. It's weird. This is weird. It's probably
I
going to be
don't know how that would work.
yeah.
No,
But this is
Because
just
the
odd. This
guy,
is odd.
the guy that was the first ghost,
Travis,
Harry Potter's aunt's boyfriend or husband,
Travis.
Travis. Is Woody Harrelson's dad, right?
No,
Is
it's
that who it
Matthew
is?
McConaughey's dad.
dad? Is that who it was? McConaughey's dad?
Yes, because in the first, because I started watching the first season again. In the first season, McConaughey references that he went to Alaska for a while to stay with his dad.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
he went there for a while, and that's the other thing is, he came back sick with cancer. Remember?
Yeah.
And Travis died of leukemia. And there's something in the water up there. I mean, the water's bad.
Coming from the mines.
Man, I didn't even remember that part about him going to Alaska and come back.
So, well, they asked him when they're questioning him, I think in the first episode or second, they asked him where he went, and he said he'd been in Alaska for a while. And I had even wondered if that, this is how crazy I'm going to go. I'd even wondered if that RV was his.
Oh.
But, I mean, that's really stretching it. I don't know.
Well, I think Doc says there's 2 episodes left. Wow, which is quick. So we shall see.
Yeah,
I mean, I like to be surprised.
I hope they don't bust it into 2 seasons.
Oh God!
I haven't heard that they're doing that, so I'm hoping it clears it up in the next 2 episodes. Because I'm with Hadley. I think this is an infrasound thing.
So, speaking of infrasound, I've got some fucking exciting news for you people.
What kind of news?
Yes,
Fucking exciting.
Ducking?
I'm not even going to say the duck.
I love ducks.
So,
our
friend from Weird Awakening, Stephen Hill, has gotten Tim Coonbo Baker to come on and talk to us, and you want to talk about someone who knows about infrasound and about all the cryptid stuff, Mr. Baker is the person. He is a former NASA employee, and he is one of the, at one point in time, one of the most traveled Bigfoot researchers in North America. And he's coming on and going to talk to us. So I hope that everybody will tune in. He is the inspiration behind the tie-in with Bigfoot in my stories. I'm completely a huge fan. I've already let people know that I will be fangirling and not talking because I'm going to be so shy to say anything to him because he's incredible. This is someone who I think that y'all would really enjoy. Even he tells a lot of really interesting encounters and stories. So
Does he breathe air?
he breathes air. He's phenomenal. Like I said,
So-
he's
Baker from NASA and Baker from the CIA. What are you trying to pull?
Oh,
oh,
And Max, Bigfoot or UFOs? No. Bigfoots are just the pets that the UFOs left behind. So
Mhm.
they don't call them UFOs
Escape.
anymore. Y'all notice they changed that?
yes, because they're trying to now come out with, they're
Yeah.
trying to reveal stuff. So now it's unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah, it should be IFOs.
Alan
Identified.
Lassiter, this is happening next weekend. Hopefully, Mr. Baker's going to check and make sure that his wife does not have plans for him, but it is in the works. So, he
Hunts down
he is
Bigfoot.
he is a smart man. He is a smart man to check with the wife first. Well, next week is Valentine's Day, guys.
yes.
I know for bitter old people like us, Scott, it's just another day of the week, but
It's a
you know.
commercial holiday.
On
They
the
forced
50th,
it
I
on
go
us.
and get all that chocolate cheap.
So speaking of, next week our show is romantic movies rom-coms. Let me be PC here. Rom-coms that we hate to love. And it's going to be another great week. So everybody tell what movie you picked. What's your rom-com you hate to love?
I picked Fool's Gold. It's Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson.
Alan?
All right. 10 Things I Hate About You.
I think Landon loves that movie. I could be wrong. And Scott Baker, which one did you pick?
Love Actually.
So we're going to have a little bit of Christmas in our February. So, and mine, for you old people who were out there, I picked Blind Date with Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger and John Larroquette. You might remember him from Night Court. And you can just thank me for it next week with some roses. I'm sure they all are all going to love it.
Thanks, Craig. I hope they have nuts in them. I'm not going to get us
So
in
you
trouble.
want nuts in your butthole cookies?
Oh,
I
there we
don't know
go.
what's going on with y'all, but just more power to y'all. Love you all. So until tomorrow night, I think Weird Awakenings is going to be doing Weird Mississippi, so you can bet I will be there. In addition to that, I hope to see all of you there. And what are you guys doing in the meantime?
I wrote words today. Yeah.
Words. You
I
and
got
Scott
like
Baker.
almost
Scott's got
2,000
two books
words
going
written
on.
today.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
yeah,
no,
I'm working on books.
I did stuff.
I'm working on the next Tatiana novel. I just started the Solar Flare novel, and the last Nurse Alyssa book comes out next Saturday.
Awesome. Alan?
I'm working on 2 books, trying to get them somewhere where I can actually order a cover for them. I'm working on them.
Nice.
Top
Hey,
secret.
Scott, your solar flare book, Class M and Class X flares can cause mass ejections, the coronal events, and that can screw up the magnetic field of the Earth, which in turn could cause infrasound problems, and infrasound screws with the human amygdala. So look what you've got now.
Yeah.
So, on the topic of infrasound, have y'all ever heard about Nikola Tesla and infrasound?
No.
Okay, so Nikola Tesla and Mark Twain were good friends, and he invited Mark Twain to his laboratory, and at which time he hit Mark Twain with a lot of infrasound and made Mark Twain poop himself in his pretty little white suit. So that is what infrasound does to you.
The brown note.
Yeah. Was that the jumping frog of Calaveras County? Is that,
No, that
one?
The brown note is it's called the brown frequency. It's hypothetical, but it's an infrasound frequency, and it's supposed to be able to cause incontinence, fecal events.
Well, it does, according to Mr. Tesla and Mr. Mark Twain. Anyway, on that note, kids, brown note special.
On that brown note,
we're gonna let y'all go.
I think I better go change my jockeys.
And I'm going to tell y'all this before I go because no one asked me. But this weekend, I'm going to do a weekend retreat doing some shamanic living. And I'm doing a class this year. So isn't that awesome for me? So
say that 10 times real fast.
Shamanic lifestyle. What was it? Shamanic living? Shamanic living. That's what it is. Anyway, I've got to go. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
Good night,
everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Night, kids.
Stay weird.